Hello fashion sewers, in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to line a sleeveless dress. I'm Colleen G. Lee and this is Fashion Sewing Blog TV. Here we have the lining of the dress, and the dress itself, think of it as a duplicate copy of the dress. It's exactly the same, the only difference is that there is a zip in the centre back of this dress. Now we need the dress on the right side, and the lining is going to be on the wrong side. I'm then going to open up the dress at the shoulders because it's not sewn at the shoulders, and then I'm going to slide the dress or funnel it into the lining. So there we have it, the dress is almost there. So we now have right side of the lining matching the right side of the dress. I'm now focused on the upper section of the dress. This is where the connection is going to happen, where the lining will be actually sewn to the actual part of the dress. Here I'm at the armhole, and I'm going to start sewing from the shoulder to the side seam. Stop there, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. Start from the shoulder and sew to the side seam. So I'm going to pin all that into place and then sew, and then I'm going to do the same for the neckline. So you're starting at the shoulder, pin, and then pin all the way to the centre of the dress, and that is where you will actually sew and stop. So I'll just put another pin there. So I'll actually start from the shoulder and sew all the way to the centre front, and then do exactly the same on the opposite side. I'm now going to be sewing the neckline. I remember I'm starting from the shoulder, and I'm going to come all the way to the centre front of the dress, and then once I've done that I repeat the same process on the other side. And then on the armhole I'm going to start from the shoulder and sew all the way to the side seam. So stitch, I pull my pins out as I go. Remember, you just need to just get to the centre front. I've done the other side just to save some time. Yep, and there. Back tack. Out of the machine. Cut my threads, and then I'm going to sew the armhole. I'll just turn that over. You're just going to be doing the same to all sides of the armhole and the neckline, because this is where the actual dress will connect. And you'll see a nice clean professional finish once you've done. So remember, I'm going to stop at the side seam. So it's meeting the other stitch seam I've done. There, we've done it. Oh, I'll just have to unpick that little bit there and flatten that out. And that, it happens sometimes when you're just using pins, and then I'll just restitch that. What I'm showing you here is the armhole, and I've trimmed and graded and clipped into the curved seam just to relax that, and then I'm going to do the same on the neckline. Trimmed and graded my seams along the armhole and the neckline. Then the next thing to do, as you can see, I'm working on the wrong side of the lining, and I now need to put the lining inside of the dress. So going to the bottom end, I'm going to reveal the dress, pull it through like so. So you've got the right side of the dress and the right side of the lining, and then I'm going to put the lining inside of the dress. So I'm going to pull out the shoulders and all points. This is where it can get a little bit tricky. And then I'm going to put the lining into the dress. There we go. So we're starting to have a lined dress here. If I put it like that, you can see that the lining is now inside of the dress. And all I need to do is press my armhole and my neckline, and I'll show you the next stage in where we need to connect the shoulders. Once you've pressed your armhole and your neckline, the next connection point you need to make is the shoulders. So you can work on the right side of your fashion fabric or the lining, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to put my hand in between the dress fabric and the lining, and I'm going to come up, funnel my hand through the shoulder. There we go. And I'm going to grab the back of the, what I'm going to do first is create a little tuck in there in order for me to be able to grab the back and then pull it through the hemline of the dress. So I'm actually making sure that I'm lining up the seams of the neckline and the armhole. So I'll just put a pin in there to make sure that I've done that, and because you don't want it to twist, remember, and I put another pin in there. And then what will happen is you pin all the way around, I shall show you in a minute, and then you'll actually sew. So once you've actually matched up your shoulder, you should have this little funnel here. And I'm going to start sewing from this point. Make sure all your seams and your notches are matched up and open. And you're going to sew all the way around, meeting at the same point in which you started. Keep just turning your work as you go, make sure your seams are open. I don't sew over my pins, and I wouldn't recommend you do either. Oh, that one's coming out by itself without any help from me. There we go. Put my pin out. All the way around, turn my work, going, remove my pins, just that a little bit, I'll turn it around. I'm on the last leg now, as they say. Right, so I'm coming back to the point in where I actually started. And just back. Tap there and cut my threads. So there we have it. This is what your work should look like once you've sewn your lining to your dress. You're going to find there's some bulk here, and that's because the lining and the dress itself is all bunched up inside, and you have the lower part of the dress where it's two separate. So you've got the dress here and the lining here, and it's connecting, as remember, at the armhole and the neckline. So the magic happens when you put your hand inside of the dress, so the right side, you get the top, pull it over the lining, and there we go. Right, let's see if I can just put this out like this, and obviously that's going to need some pressing. You're going to connect the lining to the zipper tape once the lining is actually in, and there we go. Nice armhole, necklines are joined, the lining on the inside of the dress looks all beautiful. So all the raw edges of the seams are all hidden inside of the garment. I hope you found that video tutorial helpful. It may seem a little bit difficult putting a lining into a sleeveless dress. You just need to remember to focus on the shoulder area and getting that right, and your lining to your dress will turn out okay. If you have any questions or comments that you wish to make, please put them in the comment box below, and I'll see you in my next video.